Welcome everyone to another episode of Mocktails.
Mocktail number two.
Yeah. Uh, what happens when people stop being polite and start getting real? Mocktails. You remember that one?
Mocktails.
You remember that one, Curran?
Which one?
When they say, "What happens when people stop being polite and start being real?"
I don't know.
The real world, man.
I don't think I watched that show. I
What?
didn't have cable and stuff growing up, man.
Oh, that's right.
I mean,
Like you.
we had cable, but we didn't really watch TV. It wasn't
I,
something that we did very often.
I forgot you kind of like you said that you ate like fish every day and
Tuna, man, tuna casserole. Love you, mom. But tuna casserole was not. That was definitely a repeat.
and then when you told
So,
me that and we went to the gym that one day and I was like, dude, I could see why. Like you're always a lean dude. Um but I'm
oh
here
yeah.
with Curran Quast, everybody.
Hello.
Um the person who helped me come up with this idea, set this all up. And he's gonna be a co-host whenever he's available. He's a pretty busy guy. Speaking of being a busy guy, tell us about what's been going on in your life, man.
Um, a lot. So I guess I got two kids. I got an 8-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, which blows my mind. Time flies so quickly. Um, working, doing all the activities. My oldest, she's in basketball, bowling, choir, and she's a super social individual. I don't know where she got that from. Um, no, and then for work, since 2020 when the company I was working for closed down because of COVID and everything. We linked up with another agency here in town, and since then, me and another coworker of mine just helping this business grow in the ways that we can. And I mean, we grew a lot faster than we had anticipated. So my schedule went from having a little too much free time, to like, okay, I got like an hour or two here and there. Um, but it's a good busy.
Yeah,
Yeah, just taking one day at a time at this point. So,
that's good, man. Yeah, it gets life gets crazy. Sometimes it makes you wonder. It's like, how did we ever have time to drink or party?
no, that's funny because I could make any time a party time. Oh man, we gotta go do something that's super serious. Let me put some shooters in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
I always had alcohol on me at some point, in the last few years. But yeah, I know it's funny the obsession and the ability to make time for these to just drink and party. I mean, the dopamine that you get from all the fun. Addicts, man, we're different breeds.
That instant
It only lasts for so
gratification.
long.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, that instant gratification, man. Yeah, it's a real thing. Well, like you said, I could be drinking right now if we wanted to. We could have a drinking podcast and just drink and do this. But yeah, you can really just drink anywhere. You can take it with you. That's for sure. I was thinking the other day. I was like trying to remember where I met you. Do you remember where I first met you?
I assume it was, oh man, that small group of individuals. It was like Chris and those guys.
Yeah.
Party house, one of the houses. Can't remember whose house or apartment it was. And Third Street.
Oh.
We spent a lot of time at Third Street playing cards.
Yes, 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 yes. That first time I actually met you was at Chili's at the bar. Oh man, yeah.
Oh,
They had like dollar margarita nights or $2 margaritas. I can't remember on Tuesdays. So we went there, and you were there, and you. I think you were wearing a Pepsi polo because I think you just got off work. So I put you in my phone as Curran Pepsi, and you're still Curran Pepsi on my phone.
I was working for Admiral Beverage at that time. I was stocking Pepsi, and in the mornings when I was done stocking Pepsi, I would go and help the beer guys.
That
It's funny that, one of my really good friends that used to work for the same company and I helped him deliver and stuff. Um, he actually got sober too around the same time I did, which is ironic because we liked to party, man.
dude, I know
I
you would.
mean, I remember
Yeah, keep going.
remember being like, "Oh man, this case is broken," and then bust it open and then take it fucking home, Like we were allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Just write it off as a broken case.
Yep. I remember
Yeah.
me and you partying. You were such a good worker, man. I give you props because we would party so hard and to like sometimes 2 in the morning, and you would be at work by 5.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. I was young and reckless at that point.
I don't either because I would sometimes crash on your couch and I would hear you getting up, getting ready, and you would just walk out the door. And I was like, this dude freaking made it.
I have a few stories where I had to call my boss and be like, "I'm not gonna make it."
And you would come back for lunch and I would still be on your
Like,
couch.
"Oh man, you're still here?"
I'm like,
And I was like, "Cool,
dude,
I just got off. You want to party? Let's start drinking. Let's go back out."
I know. Let's take these shots. And remember, we I think it was tequila shots. We were at your house, and you were like, "Come on, man, let's drive downtown before this stuff kicks in." Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. We did that a few times. We'd be like, "All right, what's the plan? All right, we're gonna go do this. All right." And then I would just drink as much as I could in that moment and be like, "All right, we have like 15 minutes before this really fucking hits me. So if we're gonna make it downtown, we gotta leave now."
Now. Oh
Uh,
man. I'm like, oh dude, so much stuff's popping up in my head. Like we could not tell everybody what we've done because everything that we've done because there was just so much. The one thing though that I'll never forget is snowboarding.
my God. Yeah. As I got my snowboard in the back, I'm pretty sure I wore
Oh,
this sweatshirt too.
did you? Oh
It was my boarding
man,
sweater.
dude, that talk about putting
Last one,
shooters in your pocket.
drinking all day on the mountain and then taking shots before we leave the mountain, racing back to town, going
Yeah.
100 and something miles an hour, and just being stupid and reckless.
Why were we
But hey,
racing?
I didn't want to pay for everyone else's shots.
That's why.
Last one there,
Yes.
last one there had to buy rounds, and I said, "Dane, buckle up." And you're like, "What?" And I was like, "Bro."
Oh
I,
man. And I was already kind of tuned. Remember the bartenders? Because after I hit you in the shins with my snowboard, I was like, I'm calling it good, man. I could even barely stand.
yeah, I think even Mikey was bartending. And he was like, "Hey man, I can't give these guys any more alcohol." And I was like, "That's fine. Well, we're leaving anyways." It's like, it was
God.
someone's birthday too, I think. I can't remember.
I think it was dangerous, bro.
I remember Racing Danger. No, I think it might have been his name was Tony. Maybe it was
Oh.
Tony's birthday.
Um, remember,
I can't remember. It was
remember,
someone's birthday.
yeah. Remember that girl bartender? She's like, this guy keeps meowing at me.
I was like, "Stop meowing, please."
I was like, "Rear."
so feisty. I
Yeah.
was like, ow.
But you sobered me up once we started going 110, bro, down the mountain. Like, like everything started just getting clear. I was like, oh my god, this guy doesn't want to pay for drinks this bad. We got to Lovejoy's though.
We did.
We got there.
We
We got
did.
some free drinks, man. Another
Yeah.
another. Speaking of driving, I remember on St. Patty's Day, I was driving back from Casper or something. You're like, and I was like, "Hey, Curran, where you at, dude?" And I was like barely hitting. I can't remember what's those little towns back there, Snake River or something like that. I don't even know.
It's like right outside of Laramie.
Yeah, but I remember texting you.
Rock
You're like,
River?
"Yes, Rock River," and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna start, texting some friends and stuff." And like, I was like, you were the first one on my list, and then I was like, "So where you at, man?" And you're like, "Bro, I'm at Lovejoy's. Get your ass down here." And I was like, "All right, man, I'm coming." Dude, I didn't even go home and unpack or anything. I just parked right up front of Lovejoy's. My suitcases were in the car. Walk right in, and you're like, Irish car bombs.
Everywhere I went that night, man, I was just
Oh.
like, I'm fucking Irish. And they're like, what? And I was like, buy me a drink. I didn't pay for a single drink that night. I had probably like 11 or 12 Irish car bombs, which
Oh,
honestly did not sit well with my stomach.
oh, and I hate Irish car bombs, man. And you were so adamant. You were like, "No, you're taking this car bomb." I was like,
Fucking take
oh.
it.
I was like trying to breathe. Like I would like take the breaths before. I was like, and
Yeah, it's not light beer either.
oh
That
no,
thick beer shit.
man, no way. Nah, that was a rough night, man. And I remember leaving my car downtown and I had to get a ride back to it. And I was like, God dang, I haven't even unpacked yet. And I still had to go get my car because I left it. Man, dude, that's why you go back and think of those times, and it's like, yeah, it's funny now because we're okay, but it wasn't very smart, man. Like it was that's it was pretty bad. Like we were going
Yeah.
down a spiral. Like we were just spiraling down a rabbit hole. And
And there's a lot of shame that comes with it too. And I
yes.
think
Mm-hmm.
it was wrong, and I don't know how else to say it, but just like you want to change it, but for some reason it's like in the back of your mind you're like, oh, I can't change anything, which is true. You can't change the past, but you can do better in the future. And I think I struggled with just like learning from things right away. I had
Mm.
to make a lot of fucking mistakes. Oh, hopefully I can say that. A lot of mistakes. The same one over and over again before I could learn from it.
Mm-hmm. I think the other day I texted you and I was like, what was I saying about? I was like, man, it just kind of sucks that I'm the type of individual that has to learn everything the hard way. I can't
Yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember what we were talking about though, but um,
I
oh,
could tell you, I could pull it up right now.
oh, it was about finishing some classes.
Oh, yeah, finishing those classes
Yeah.
that you thought you would never
Yeah.
get to.
Yeah.
My life is over. I'm never gonna get there. I was like,
The money,
shut the
bro.
fuck
Yeah.
up. Money. Yeah. I don't know. But you did it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of things that people struggle with is they're like, they see the big picture of something, and the overwhelming sense of like getting it done and getting it done right. I mean, that puts you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. I do it to myself too. And with these big projects and big things that I have to work towards, I almost have to set up a thing where it's like, okay, what is something I can do today to like get myself towards that goal? Whether it's like for work, being present with my kids, being a better dad, and being a better partner, better friend. Um, it's fucking hard work, dude. And like, one of the things that I have been doing right now that's been helping me a lot is going to AA, um, going to group meetings and stuff like that because, after I had to sit with myself getting after I got sober, it was hard to really learn from my mistakes because it was hard for me to like take a different perspective or to really see what I did wrong in every situation. Because a lot of people are like, oh, like this happened to me, like it's not my fault. Okay, well, in some circumstances, yeah, I mean, it wasn't your fault, but like you did make choices to put yourself in that position to begin with,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people, including myself, and still to this day, sometimes I have a hard time seeing that, because I'm always just like stuck in my tunnel vision. I call it my little binoculars, like anything outside of what I'm looking at right now doesn't matter. And it's taken me talking to a few other people and like actually listening and to like understand rather than to like respond.
Hmm.
And like going to these meetings and listening to other people's perspectives and stuff, like I'm learning from them. Like I'm taking what they're saying
Yep.
and I'm applying it to myself in the way I think it would work best for me. And I'm hoping that like something like this podcast is also gonna like help with that,
Yep.
because the biggest common denominator is not the alcohol or the drugs. It's how you feel about yourself or like how you feel in general. And a lot of people feel like they're alone and that, no one knows what they're going through because how they feel in X, Y, and Z. You
Hmm.
go to a group meeting, you listen, you can, listen two or three people talk and you can relate to some part of their story because, you know, they too also experience something very similar to what you're experiencing. You just have to be open-minded and accept that like, it feels like you're alone, but you're not. There are people out there that are experiencing stuff that's very similar to you, if not worse, you know?
Yep.
And it's those stories that, talk about the worst in those same or similar situations that I really learned from it because those are the people that fucked around and had to find out the hard way, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I'm just like you said, like I can look back and I laugh about this stuff now. Um, there's still some shame in it. Like we laugh about going 100 miles an hour down a fucking mountain while it's
Winner.
snowing.
Yeah.
When, um, you know, I laugh because we could have fucking died that day and would have been my fault. Um, and that's kind of like a hard thing to like think about and like, would I be able to live with that? Uh,
Hmm.
my higher power, dude, God kept me alive that day for this reason. So,
Yeah. And I think I don't know if they talk about this in AA. And speaking of AA, that's you're right. That's why we wanted to start this podcast because a lot of people, well, not a lot, but some people don't like stepping in. Just getting up and out of the house to go to a meeting, man. So, um my when I was sober for that full year, um my go-to was these. Like I would watch a celebrity's story. You know what I mean? And I would
mm,
watch other just random people hear their stories and I was like, "Oh yeah." And it was just a good reminder of why I was doing it, and like you said, it taught me some things, like some different skills and some different ways to look at things. And I was like, all right. So that's what I'm hoping to do for somebody that's afraid to even step into an AA room is that they could have this to go to and have some type of just like AA for themselves, but listen to us. And then hopefully gain the courage to go to one. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, and I can tell you when I first got sober, it took me, um, as they would say it, I was white knuckling it for about 60 days.
Mm.
So within those 60 days, I was listening to podcasts. I was deep in books, um, trying to find an answer as to why, like, I was an addict,
Mm-hmm.
or why I couldn't, like, give up alcohol, you know, and, those cravings and stuff started to come back because, it's like, oh man, I went 2 months without drinking. Maybe I'm not a total fucking loser or drunk, maybe I can have one more drink. And, if it wasn't for my cousin, um, and some of the friends that she asked to reach out to me, I don't think I would have given AA a try. And it's a weird thing is like the first time I tried to go to AA, like the times had changed in comparison to what they had online. So I was like, oh, this is a sign that I'm not a drunk. I don't need to be here. Um, but then the second time I went, it was hard. The door was wide open. All I had to do was walk in. And then um, I was standing there outside the door, and I'm looking in. I'm like, dude, look at all these fucking losers. Losers, you are like me. I'm so much better than you. Like,
Yeah.
you guys all look like a bunch of drunks and drug addicts. And dude, I was talking about myself at that point.
Yeah.
Those were me. Those people are me. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Are you here for the meeting?" And I looked at him, and at this point, I was being all fucking judgy and shit and angry because I'm sober. Um, I'm lost and confused with life, and I was like, I don't know. I'm thinking about it. And before I could even like finish what I was saying, he had me around the arm. He's like, "Oh, just come in here. Just come in here." That was probably like the most welcoming I've ever felt
Mm-hmm.
in a really hard time in my life.
Yeah.
And so, for once, when I was talking about like, oh, I feel alone, I'm alone, nobody knows, this self-pity bullshit that, we like to feed ourselves sometimes. And I felt welcome. I felt not alone. And that's what that room is for, you know. That's that first step is like, okay, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Second step, I mean, these aren't the steps.
Yeah.
This is like how in my brain, like, okay, I felt alone, I'm not alone anymore. Like this guy right here next to me, he got just as drunk as I've been getting drunk, but his life is a lot worse because he didn't get away with things like I did. That could be me right now. Oh, this person lost um, their family, their house. Holy shit, like that could have been me. I'm fucking lucky that I didn't lose any of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. And dude, that's so that lonely feeling, man. And it's gosh, I had so many friends still. You know what I mean? I wasn't constantly lonely, but even when I was around people, now that I look back and had a lot of people by my side, I was lonely, bro. Like just because of feeling lost, you know what I mean? Like I knew that there was something wrong and I knew that what I was doing was not right and I couldn't figure out why. And that sucked, you know? There was times where I would be when I had my own apartment there in Laramie. Dude, I would just hit my knees and and place my head on the bed like this and just bawl and say I want it all gone. Please, you know what I mean? Like take this away, help me like and then something just kind of spoke to me and said, I'm always here to help you, but you got to try. You still and it you still love this too much. And that's when
Yeah.
I was like, I got to try to give it up. He's not just going to and a lot of people they have their own different beliefs and stuff, but this is what worked for me. And And I was like, man, he's right. I still love this stuff. I love it too much, and all I want him to do is take it away without me working for it. So yeah, man. Do they teach you to have some type of higher power? It doesn't have to be a god, or do they tell you to do something like that, or to talk to someone that's spiritual, or
Um, Depends on who you talk to.
yeah.
I mean, there's a huge variety of different ways that I have seen people talk about their higher power or something that they can give up that wanting to drink or whatever's bothering them in that moment. People say God, gods, the universe. That's one that one's kind of more like mine right now because um, the universe is everything. Well, and I guess God is too. Um, but then when I view God, I view God as an entity, as a single being.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the universe is like everything, including you. And so my higher power is always changing. Like in this moment, right now, you're my higher power because I'm able to talk about these things and we're like being able to like work through some of the stuff that, like I said yesterday when I texted you, I was like, hey man, like, I appreciate you, dude. Like, in that moment of just like feeling overwhelmed, like I was so fucking pissed off at that toilet, dude. I'm still upset about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I started a simple project and now it's remodeling an entire bathroom. And in that moment, I was like, fuck everything. I was gonna like throw in the towel and just like not give a fuck. And then you texted me and I was like, holy shit, like this is the universe telling me to fucking reach out. And I told you what was going on. And next thing you know, I got YouTube videos that I couldn't find. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I was like, you know what? I need to text James. And it's just like a reminder, like when my higher power needs to remind me to reach out when I feel overwhelmed.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
just because I was so used to just doing everything on my own.
Yeah. Yeah, someone was telling me to text you, man. So I was like, I'm gonna see how this guy's day's going. Like,
It just turns out to be like me about to vent about a stupid toilet.
oh man, yeah, but like you said though, something that small, and then somebody just reaching out means that much, and that could be just to anybody. Like, if you have any type of inclination of like something's telling you to talk to somebody, just do it. Like, ask how their day is, or you know what I mean. Like, see how they're doing or what they're up to. Like, it means a lot to some people, man, and it means a lot to me. I know that. I'm a pretty, as you are, stubborn. I wouldn't say stubborn dude, but like I don't know how to explain this, man. I don't show emotion really. You know what I mean? Like I try to hold it in a lot. You know what I mean? Um I don't
Well,
know why.
as society would. Sorry, go ahead.
Like that's what I was just gonna say is like I don't know why. But I tend to, when I'm very excited, I hold it in. Like when I'm very sad, I hold it in. Like if I'm really really down, I hold it in. Like I try to stay this even keeled. And I don't know if that's bad or good. So I've heard people just say, "Dude, that's you're so even keeled. That's awesome." Well, besides when like I would drink, like I would go nuts, um like yeah, I would just be I'm just an even keeled guy, and I don't try to show emotion. I don't try to have too high of highs and too low of lows. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's bad or what, but what's your input on that? I don't know if you've ever talked to somebody about that.
Um, well, I guess give me an example.
So like somebody would be like, "Oh dang, congratulations on this," but deep down inside, I'm jumping up and down. I'm like very happy, but I'm just like, "Oh well, thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty excited too." Like type deal. Or something devastating happens in my life. I'll just say, you know what, that's life. Um, and just got to move on. But inside, I'm just crushed. You know what I mean? So like the passing of one of my cousins, that one, a lot of people were telling me sorry, and I think you know which one I'm talking about. And I was just like, yeah, well, thanks, I appreciate it. It happens. And I would just try to keep that even. Not cry or not jump for joy. But just be me and regular, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Um, I don't know. Motion regulation is a hard thing to just keep consistent in general. So the fact that you're able to like keep yourself level, I mean, that if it works for you, man, it works for you. I used to just be, I don't know. People say I have a resting face that is not approachable. People are like, "Are you even having fun?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm having the best time of my life." They're like, "Well, smile." And
See?
I'm like,
Yes.
I mean, and I feel bad because Nora or my oldest has it right now. We're at the carnival and she's doing this spin thing, and people are like, "Is she okay?" And I'm looking at her and I'm like, "Oh my God, she just looks so angry." And she gets off and I'm like, "Dude, are you okay?" She's like, "I had so much fun, Dad." And I'm like, "All right, you just look like me."
That's exactly where
Uh,
I'm getting at, bro. Like that right there. And my fiance hates it. Like,
I mean, I know a few people that don't exactly like it because I feel like they can't read me. They don't see the body language.
mm-hmm.
Um, however, when I'm upset, if I don't say it, my face says it all. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and if my face doesn't change, my something in my eyes, um, just the way I look at people sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
they know I'm upset with them. And for the most part, they're like, it's kind of scary. And I'm like, that's just me processing my feelings. Because this face could be saying and doing a whole lot more on the external part of how I feel,
Yeah.
which could turn around and like make things worse. Um, but I think that at some point, keeping a level, just like a baseline and staying there no matter what happens, mm, that almost sounds like to me just like you don't want to have too many highs because you're not ready to experience the lows, or you have too many. I'm not saying this for you. I'm just
No,
saying like in
yeah.
general, like some people experience so much of a low for such a long period of time that when they experience happiness, it's like short-lived. It's not real.
Mm-hmm.
They almost feel like it's fake, and then all of a sudden the script changes, and then they're back to feeling low, because that's all they know. And some people that are, low and are always chasing the highs. I mean, that's me. That was me.
Mm-hmm.
That's where alcohol, um, the pills, and all my other fun addictions that I had, you know, if I couldn't get a hold of one addiction, I found a substitute. That's why people are like, how did you get over, pills and all these drugs and stuff? And I was like, I drank more, you know.
Yeah.
Drinking is accessible. I can go downtown right now and drink as much as I want, or until I'm allowed, you know. But I
Yeah.
can't go to the pharmacy and get, 90 Percocets, you know, just because I want them.
Yeah.
It's a whole process, and like I found that the things that I wanted the most when they became scarce and I couldn't get it, I just found a substitute. And alcohol was the last one.
Yeah.
After alcohol, there's really to go back to the cycle and start doing something different.
Yeah.
At that point, you're not really changing. You're just finding an alternative.
Yeah. And dude, um, that's so true. Like, I used alcohol as well to get to something else. you know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't use it in a healthy way, you know. So yeah, if alcohol was there and I couldn't get to something else, or if I was trying to get to something else, like I said, I would just drink, dude. Like just to try to get to that other craving.
Euphoric level,
Yeah,
the euphoric feeling of just
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah.
And it's funny. It's so funny because some people, they drink alcohol or take a pill and they're like, "Oh, I'm tired." Like, I'm like, dude, I'm ready to fucking go. Like, my body gives me a whole different response, and like, I think that's scary,
Oh,
you
dude,
know?
yes. Like yeah, that's how I am too. Like when I drink or do something else, I'm ready to go, man. Um, and I think me, it depend on what kind of day I had to. Um, it depend on what kind of day I had that was going to determine what kind of drunk I was going to be.
Oh my gosh.
So like, like I was telling you, not expressing those highs and not expressing those lows. But when I got drunk, dude, like it was a complete 180 of either being completely happy or just wanting to freaking fight anybody that got in my way. Um, and I
That was just those
go ahead.
things trying to come out at that point
Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like,
because
dang, I can't drink.
what do you mean I was cry? I don't cry. Crying was fun.
What do you mean I was standing on top of the bar dancing?
I don't dance.
Like,
And then now we have, like I said, we got cell phones now.
oh
There's videos and
man.
proof of everything.
Oh, and I send you videos of things from back in the day, but that are like, oh my gosh, remember this man? And you're like, oh yeah. But that's only stuff in my library. Like nobody else like knows about this stuff because it was stuff I would send you and then just save it, and I'd send it to you personally. But yeah, I think, dude, because I've been at 86 out of probably every bar in Main Street in Laramie, man. Like it, I always end up being able to go back, but it's that going back part, man, that I'm like,
The dread.
I gotta face these fools now, like, and I gotta go get my card because I left it there, and like, dang, man, dude, you were on one yesterday, and people, and I'd hear this a lot of times from some people, um, they were like, you had this look in your eye, man, and they're like,
Mhm.
it was just like you were glazed over and you were ready to like just murder somebody. It looked like, and I was like, really? They're like, yeah. And the other day you were so happy. They're like, you were dancing around, putting music in the jukebox, singing, because you know how I like to sing, man. Um, and yeah, they would say that it don't. They're like, you look like a completely different person, man. They were like, you were having so much fun, and then boom, you blinked, and you were something else. And I was like, wow,
I
sorry.
like to call that Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Um, yeah, because I could be a completely level-headed, understanding individual, but the second you put a few drinks in me, uh, the sensibility, the common sense,
Mm-hmm. Recklessness, dude.
you know, it's all out the window, and there's no second thought. It's the first thought. And unfortunately, I have a lot of intrusive thoughts that hit my brain first before I actually like move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And, when people think I'm trying to be like, I'm being mean or short, I'm like, this went through a lot of filters before this came out.
Yep.
Um,
That's a good way of putting it,
and,
dude. Yes.
because before I didn't have filters because I didn't care. And now that I'm in a different place in my life and like, I need to understand that like my actions, my words, and everything, I mean, they have effects whether I want to believe it or not. Um, I don't know. Every day is a new day, every day is different. I swear, like one day I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be super conscious about this because it's really coming out. And then I ignore it, or not even ignore it. Sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing certain things. And it takes someone to be like, hey, like you're doing this right now. I'm like, okay, I gotta reconnect because I'm disconnected from where my growth,
Yeah.
because it's easy. It's easy. I think, I was yesterday when we were talking about the maintenance and stuff, and I was like, I wish things were just like a little easier. Like, why did this one thing that was supposed to be an easy project turn into this gigantic fucking 2 week long thing now? Um, why does everything have to be so difficult? And, I was upset about it, but at the same time, I'm like, this is the universe. Once again, like the higher power being conscious of like, holy shit, this is really fucking hard right now. But if I ever have to do this in the future, I'm not gonna have 2 second thoughts about how hard it is. I'm just gonna fucking do it.
Yeah.
And so it's taking those moments and just like slowing my brain down
Mm-hmm.
because I can go from 100 to or 0 to 100 real quick. Um, Stupid.
Yeah,
It's all
man.
stupid.
Yeah, that's how I would get. Like I would just get so I would go from even killed to just reckless. Like ready to do whatever, man. Like 12
You got
shots,
my back
let's do it. Like
right
ski
now.
the shot skis, we get the shot skis, and then like and I would just buy the bar around, and you know what I mean, just $50 in the jukebox, not caring, and telling somebody to f off. Like I just things I would not do. So yeah, it's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde effect. That's so
Yeah.
true, man. Oh
I take
god.
one sip and I'm a whole different person.
Yeah, me too. And it depends on, like I said, what kind of day I had. I could be a really fun one or a really really miserable guy to be around. And I just couldn't take that chance anymore to even drink or to do that.
Yeah.
And I'd make stupid decisions too, man. I mean, everything's just out the window. There's no there's no common sense, like you said. I'll do whatever comes my way.
Yeah. And there's this, it's like a huge difference between sober me and drunk me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny when some people are like, I miss the old Curran. I mean, this was long ago. I miss the old Curran, the one that used to drink and party and was fun. And, in a part of me, I was just like, that's the only reason why people fucking know me. I was at every party. I was drunk. I had the connections. I had the drugs. I had what people wanted for those good times, but I don't think I was really having a good time. I think I was just trying to learn how to connect with people.
Dude, that
And that
is
was the only place I knew how to because like, going to school, we'll say college. I mean, you go to a class of a few hundred people, you sit next to this one person all year round and you barely fucking know their name. You talk to them every once in a while, but like to me, they're just like, oh, it's just someone in my class. Like
yeah.
there's no true connection. I don't think I really learned how to connect
That is so
with people
true.
outside of sports. I was so involved in sports that like that's how I connected with people is like moving my body and like doing those activities with them. And then outside of that, I'm like, okay, how do you connect with people? Like, you know, the next connection was a party at a
Mm-hmm.
bar,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yep.
Um,
Especially in Wyoming, man.
we got a bar on every block, and if it's not a bar, it's a liquor store.
Exactly. Like there's nothing to do but just pound beer or pound shots. Like, or we can start a podcast like this and then just talk about it. But that, dude, no, very few people want to do that. Very few people get bored around here. They get freaking bored.
Yeah, I mean that's a huge one. Um, like I said earlier on this podcast, I was like, life is good. I went from having a ton of free time to no free time, but or like very little free time. And I was like, what did I do with my free time? I was at the fucking bar drinking, wasting money. you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't I thought I was making connections with people there and I thought I had friends. Um, there's only like two or three people that really stayed connected with me since I've gotten sober from, my bar.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yep.
outside of, just drinking. And even then, like sometimes it's hard because, they still go out and drink and I don't judge them for it.
Yeah.
But, I feel left out of things, which brings back that loneliness that a lot of people feel, like I talked about, and like not, feeling like nobody knows. But the second I found a different way to connect with people.
Yeah.
And instead of, drinking and talking about our problems or just like drinking and not talking about our problems, going to these group sessions and like really thinking about how to be better and listening to how other people be better. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a different person, 100%. I mean, there's a lot of people that when I got sober, I mean, I lost 70 pounds when I got sober. And people were like, "Oh man, are you on drugs now?" People thought I was doing drugs. And I was like, "No, man, like I got sober and I realized I had to face a lot of fucking shit that I did. And nothing burns more fucking fat than your inability to sit with yourself and your feelings and just like, I mean, it's overwhelming. I mean, you're like stress, man. I lost a lot of weight, man. I did. But I was also taking care of my body better. I was
Mm-hmm.
eating less junk food because when I drank a lot, I didn't care what food I ate or if I even ate at all.
Yeah.
Um, crazy to just even think about that.
Mm-hmm. And I think what you said, man, about that one really stuck with me was people didn't really want, they wanted something from you, and that was to show them a good time or just to party with, not to actually hang out with the real you, and I can relate to that, man. Like there's that feeling,
Because,
and
I mean,
you know
yeah, that feeling, And people, once I said, "Oh, I'm not drinking anymore," like we can still hang out, like
yeah.
that lasted very, very shortly.
Yeah. And
You know?
it's not that you lose friends, man. It's almost like they lose you. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna go skiing with somebody, when I don't ski. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, so
I'm not gonna go sitting on the mountain, drink hot chocolate, and watch you ski down.
yeah,
Like, no thanks.
yeah, like, so it's just like things change, like you said, and you just got to walk away from that. You're retiring from it, and so it's not like you lost
Well, I'm
somebody.
not
It's
even.
just you kind of just walked away from it. You know what I mean? Like,
And if those people call me today and ask me for help, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna do it.
yes.
I mean, that's what friends are for. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing is like another way of people's thoughts is like, if you're not doing something with your friends all the time, like they don't care. Like, dude, we have lives, man. We
Yep.
have responsibilities. We got like, I kind of wanted to do something fun this weekend. I had this planned out. I was gonna fix the toilet Friday, do the shit on Saturday, have Saturday and today for the Super Bowl to just chill and hang out, and I didn't get anywhere with that stuff. And I was upset about it at first, but then I was like, what am I gonna go do?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, this is Laramie. Like, I can't. I could go to the bar, but why would I go to the bar? I don't drink.
Yeah. So
I, you know,
that's my point. Like, what else is there to do? But work on
where's those
yourself.
midnight late? Where's those midnight late book clubs at? Like
Yeah.
I can't sleep. Can we talk about a book? I don't know. I'll do it. It's like I like to read,
Maybe you
and I
should
think
start one.
I don't know many people who stay up past 10 p.m. want to talk about books. So we're reading this book now.
We will be talking about
Curran, I'm
Captain
ready for bed,
Underpants. did
dude. Yes,
did you guys read your chapters?
Tra la la. My daughter reads
Oh,
those books, so I know
oh
those.
man, yes.
I read those books growing up. That's funny.
Yeah. And that's why I got this started, man. So we could take some time and do something with our Super Bowl Sunday. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Things like that, functions that happen like that. I mean, they don't bother me anymore, dude. I don't really crave alcohol. I don't. I could really just be anywhere without it. So
See, and that's
everybody has their different type of like way of going about it, huh? You know what I mean? But like, it still would be a problem for me if that makes sense. You
yeah,
know what I mean? But I just don't. I don't want it. I don't crave it. It's just if I touch it, you never know what's gonna happen.
right. And that's and there I have so much fear behind drinking again. Like, the last time I drank, um, I I drank more than usual, and I was in a really bad like mental state at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was ready to go. So that morning when I woke up, you know, I was surprised. You know, I I went to sleep expecting not to wake up, hoping I wouldn't wake up. And that was that was what I needed though. It was that one more time to wake up and realize that my drunk self was so upset it was trying to kill me, you know?
Yep.
And sober me did not want to die. I was not ready to die, Like I was okay with the problems, but drunk me was not okay with the shit that was going on in my life, the things I had like zero control over.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard to like accept that when I was drunk because I was so delusional with this idea of what it should be or it needs to be. Um, that God was like, dude, this is your last fucking chance, man. I can't keep saving your ass, driving 100 miles an hour plus from Snowy Range to Laramie on snowy roads. I kept you alive then. You woke up in your puke how many fucking times? I kept you alive then. I know. I know that so many times I could have just done some of the stupidest shit. I'm still fucking here. Like the worst thing that I wouldn't say the worst thing, but like with the law, the only I got caught sleeping in my car during Jubilee days. I wasn't trying to drive, and when I remember everything and they tell me that I almost blew up point 0.3 and I'm able to recollect the entire thing. I mean, the judge pretty much said I was an alcoholic, that I had such a high tolerance that if I'm able to like recollect this entire fucking thing and still blow this high, like I needed to get fucking help. But
Yep.
at that point, I was like, "Oh, fuck you, judge. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, I ain't no drunk."
I'm just that good at
And
it.
then I didn't. Yeah, I'm a smart drunk. I'm a high functioning alcoholic. Um, I did everything I needed to do in life to keep it maintained, but it was maintained at like the bare minimum. My life was not put together. It looked like it. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It still isn't. I'm almost 2 years sober now. It, I tried to get sober back in. I've been trying to get sober for, since 2020. And I think, in 2021 when things started to reopen and I thought, oh yeah, I went my 6 months without driving. Like I don't need they won't put an airlock to my car. The second I went to go get my license back, they're like, "Oh yeah, put an interlock in." I was like, "Oh no, but it's been over the time that I would need one." They're like, "Oh no, you actually have to do the time." And it wasn't until I figured out how much I could drink the night before and during the day for my interlock to work. If that doesn't scream alcoholic,
Wow.
that's,
You had it all planned out, huh? Like you just had a routine already.
dude, yeah, it worked. There was a couple mornings it didn't work and I was fucking pissed.
Oh.
But, and I think back and I was like, man, if that wasn't like the biggest fucking sign of me trying to work my day around my next drink or around getting drunk, what am I living for at that point? I was only living to drink.
Hmm.
I didn't care about what was going on around me.
Yeah.
Our friend James, man, I don't know how he put up with me.
I
I,
could,
I'm,
I could say
I
the
mean,
same
I
for
can
me with
say
him.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can say that he had a roommate. We're not going to say names. That was probably the worst out of all of us. However, like James is a good guy. He didn't deserve probably some of the shit he fucking dealt with when he was living with me. You know,
Same.
Still a really good friend too, which is I'm really thankful for. Um, no, my life. I don't know. I just feel like my view on life has changed so much though too. I
Yeah.
used to feel sorry for myself a lot. Like, oh man, I don't have that big ass house. I should feel sorry for myself. It's like, dude, nobody can afford that big ass house. Let's be real. Like the delusion,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're probably paying in fucking wazoo at the ass to keep this house fucking maintained. Like,
Insurance.
there's no way. Insurance.
I got you. No, yeah,
Thank
man.
God.
Alcohol, just partying in general has tried to take me out too, man. Um, that I have multiple stories of just one that I remember, man, and I've told few. I was walking back from the bar downtown in Laramie, and I was going back to my house. Dude, it was cold, 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 and all I remember was waking up next to this dumpster. This guy was shoveling snow. I bet you it was about 10 degrees, dude. Shoveling snow, and I wake up and I'm like covered in snow, and I just hear the scorching from the and he's in the alley, dude, and shoveling this driveway, and I'm like, I get up and I just feel my head. I'm like, oh, and it's just tender, and he goes, "Hey man, are you all right?" And I was like, "I think so." Like I couldn't even tell you how cold I was, because I was just probably had hypothermia or something. But I was there. That was at 5 in the morning. I was probably there from 1:30 to 5 in the morning, bro. And he picks me up, and he's like, "There's blood on you," and he's like, "Oh, you must have slipped and hit that corner of the dumpster." Because there was like a little blood, where they lift the
Yeah,
dumpsters and I was like, oh,
this corner pieces.
yeah, and I still have like a scar. And he's like, dude, let me get you home. He's like, you are freezing. He's like, you don't look good. So he takes me home, and I walk into my bed, dude, and just take off all my clothes and then just hop in and cover up, bro. I shivered for like 3 hours, but I should have died that night, man. You know how cold Laramie gets.
Yeah,
And if it wasn't for that dude just shoveling a random alley driveway, because they have those garages in the back, you know what I mean? Like in some of those houses, I would never woke up from, because the sound that he was making close to me woke me up. I would have just stayed there and froze, bro. And thinking about that now, it scares the living shit out of me right now, just thinking about it. But I haven't told many people, but those are the types of things that happen, man. And it happened. It would have went a lot different if I was sober. I tell you that.
right.
Like I probably would have been more cautious, and I was probably stumbling home. You know what I mean? Just and then boom and boom, hit my head, lights out. Um, but dude, that's one of the stories that where I was like, man, drinking, it's really trying to take me out. you know. But God, like you said, God's like, dude, when are you gonna slow down? You know, like I've given you all of these chances to
Mm-hmm.
realize that I'm here and real, and I want something. I want you to do something with your life that you're not doing. Get your head out of your and
Get
do
out
it.
your ass, ass, ass.
Yeah, and do what you need to do. Do what I have planned for you. And it took a lot of those um, experiences to start realizing, like, hey, I gotta slow down, man. And luckily, I haven't had an interlock. Gosh, that seems like a pain in the butt, dude. You just like blowing into it, blow zeros. I'm not that drunk. I'm not that. He's not
No,
that
there's
drunk.
it's shitty because it's super sensitive. So during that time, like they were like, oh, like um hand sanitizer was like the big fucking thing. Like
Yeah.
keep everything sanitized. COVID's still out on the loose. Watch out. Um, we went bowling and I put some hand sanitizer on because bowling's, everyone's touching shit, and I'm trying to like
Yeah.
not die or get sick, not die, just not get sick. And I put hand sanitizer on. I blown the thing. It's like failed, and I was like, it's like I didn't fail this. And I was like, the hand sanitizer set it off, and I was like, son of a bitch, they're gonna think I was drinking. And you have to wait like 5 minutes before for it to reset before you can use it again.
Mm,
And I waited, and then I did it again and went zeros. And I was like, all right, well, when I went to go send it into the courts and stuff, they're like, well, on this date, this went off. And I was like, but you can see that 5 minutes later, like the minute 30 seconds later, or however long it was, I was like, I blew zeros. Like, well, how do we know that was you? And I was like, I put hand sanitizer on. Like,
yeah.
I was bowling, and I was like trying to explain it to them. And they're like, well, I had to pee in a cup once a week randomly too. Um, so they're like, well, we're gonna extend another 3 months for you peeing in a cup. And I was just like, oh my God, life is not fair.
Yeah.
And like, I was still, I was still drinking. And, even in peeing in a cup, I was like, what day do you guys start your week on? Is it a Monday or is it a Sunday? Because that really determines on when I drink, you know?
Yeah. Again, trying to
Because
plan.
if you make me pee on a Saturday, if I drink Saturday night and the week starts over on Sunday, you guys can call me in again on Sunday morning to pee in a cup, and I'm gonna pee hot.
Yeah.
So I knew like how many days. So if they tested me on Monday, I was like, oh shit, dude, I got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to drink. And then I got Saturday to like not drink. And I did it for so long, between the interlock and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
the obsession of around drinking was not clear to me that that's what I was doing. And it wasn't until I got sober and started hanging out with other drunks and working on myself that I realized that I was obsessed with this one fucking thing. Every day I woke up, I thought about it. I was drinking before I either passed out or I went to bed.
Yeah.
There was no, there was times where I ran out of alcohol at home, but I was too drunk to drive, and I knew that, and I so thankful for delivery, you
Wow.
know.
Yeah, they even got delivery down there, huh?
Well, they used to. That was back in the day. They don't do that stuff anymore.
That was during COVID.
But, the bar that I always go to or went to, they had my number saved on the fucking cell phone. So when I called, they're like, "Oh, you just want your usual?" And I said, "Yep." And then they would bring it to me. Sometimes they were like, "Oh, dude, here's like a couple extra shooters free of charge." I was like, "Dude, sweet, thanks, bro.
That'd make like your night, huh? You know what I mean? Like,
Fuck yeah." It's like, hell yeah, more alcohol. Like that's what I fucking needed.
yeah, dude.
At the end of the day, alcohol really clouded my judgment, my perspective on everything. You know, in moments I thought people were being unjust or like unfair with me, and really I was just being drunk and I was not being open-minded because that's what it does. It just closes you off
Yeah.
completely. It's a silent killer, man. It starts out party, you start out drinking with your friends and going out into parties, and then before you know it, you know, like me, I was drinking a ton by myself. I didn't want to go out anymore. I didn't, and I was getting belligerently drunk by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, and I'm like, oh, I'm alone. Nobody loves me. Like, of course you're fucking alone. You're at home by yourself drinking, you fucking dumbass. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta get to the bar and be with the people that know me. It's like, they're just as drunk as I am. Like,
Yeah.
they won't remember anything.
They can relate to me.
They know me so much better. I don't
Oh,
know.
they don't know shit. Yeah. That's so true, man. I mean, gosh, I drank. I'm not gonna say I've partied so much, man, and I think that's what caused my hair to fall out.
You're what?
I partied so much, I think that's what caused my hair to start falling out.
Oh man. Then I must have not partied hard enough, man.
Yeah, that's what.
I still got
You got a full head. Oh man. Nah,
I got
Curran, me and you've been through a lot, man. Like I said, we can't even begin to tell everything to our viewers, but man,
I would have to say this is just the tip of the tip.
that the tip of the tip. There's another tip on top of the tip. Like,
Yes, there's a covering because below that there's
whole
I
nother
mean it just
tip.
goes
Oh, dude.
I was just like I was thinking this morning, I was like, okay, when I do this, what direction do I want to go in? What am I gonna I'm just like I don't want to think about it too much.
Just let it flow, man. Yeah,
Gotta let it flow.
just let it flow. So I'm glad we started this, Curran. Gosh dang it, man. I wanted to make it happen, bro, and I'm glad we're doing that. And hopefully we can change some lives. And I just want people to know that like we're not all perfect. People are gonna mess up. People are gonna do things. This ain't for people who think that they're perfect because we're not.
Are you kidding me? I am so perfect. It's funny because like there are some people like out there right now that the way that I present myself now, um, they're like, you just think you're so much better or perfect. And I'm just like, no, like I'm just like trying to like share with what I've been learning. Because at this point, like, you're right, I am far from fucking perfect. There are so many things in my life right now that I could give myself a reason to drink about it.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
mean, when I was a drunk, you know what? I would give myself a drink for the simplest things. Like, holy cow, I did the dishes. Let's go get drunk. Like, oh shit, I've been drinking while I've been doing the dishes. Like, I'm already kind of drunk. Like there's, that's just like a very, small
A reward.
thing that yeah, like drinking for me was a coping mechanism for like what every American or every person does every day.
Hmm.
They work their ass off all day or not, they just go and do their thing today. They get home and then, a drink or two help settle the mind and relax. That's normal.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, for some of us, like myself, I would have one or two or three or four at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
So
wow.
I was starting
Okay.
my evening
Okay.
first thing in the morning.
Damn.
A lot of people didn't know that. Like my drinking was, I started in the morning most mornings, um, in 2020, towards the end of 2019. The end of 2019, though, I was coming off of taking anywhere from it was like 7 to 9 Percocets, or not Percocets. What were they? No, I think those were Percocets. Yeah, I was taking anywhere from 7 to 9 Percocets a day. because
Dang.
I hurt my back for work, and I'm a person that I can't sit at home and do nothing. And so I was like, just give me a bunch of painkillers and I'll come back to work.
Mm.
That's what I fucking did.
Mm.
And, you know, at that point, I wasn't really drinking that much, but I was doing a lot of pills. Um, and then once my doctor took away my pills, because he called me in one day because I wanted a refill again. He's like, "How often do you drink?" And I lied, and I was like, "Ugh, like every once in a while, like not very often." He's like, "Well, the fact that you drink every once in a while, I'm gonna stop giving you these pills because you could take one, have one drink, and not wake up, you know."
Oh.
Right? And it was one of those realizations, like, okay, like, but I still want my pills. But he wouldn't give them to me. So then I started drinking more to get to that point where I was feeling to ease that pain that I was feeling. Of course, now after going through like physical therapy and working out and stuff, I don't have that pain that often.
Yeah.
But that drinking kept up with me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I when I was trying to quit by myself, I could go a week without drinking, maybe. I think a week was the longest I went without drinking.
Oh.
Um,
Got to start somewhere.
before I was right. But, it would be like every once in a while, it would be a week. If I tried to quit, sometimes it would be for like a day or two. Like, oh, I'm fine. I can start drinking again. But I could talk about this all fucking day long, dude.
Yep. Same here, man. But yep, we are we
We'll
we
save it for
we are
another
not perfect human beings. I just want people to know that, you know what I mean? Like we're not it's just that we're trying to hold ourselves to a different standard. And I believe that people, and I'm not bashing if that's the way they think. I believe people that I heard this in church one time because they were talking about how Christians think that they're the most perfect people and we're not. You know what I mean? Like that's why we're at church is because we know how bad we are. Like we just kind of need it. And he was saying like those people kind of say that because they're living on the world, like in a world. The world is just full of sin and stuff like that. And he's like, there's no standards there. So once you start
day.
giving yourself a standard, he's like, they think that you're better. He's like, so they're at zero standards while just doing what they want. They see you as better because you have one standard, and that's just a change. Um,
Right.
but I was like, oh wow, like never thought of that. So it's usually they just don't have that standard set in their mind, and then they're just like, oh, I have none. Look at this guy, start putting you on a pedestal. But yeah, we're horrible. I just want
No, I still
we're
make poor
horrible.
choices. I still struggle every day with certain things, and
Yeah.
the biggest difference in my life is I don't turn to alcohol and drugs to fucking fix it or
Yep.
make myself feel better about it. I have different tools and different mindsets to help me work through it now.
Sweet man. I'm
Which
so I'm so happy for you, Curran. When you told me you were sober, I was like, yes, my boy.
there was a few people that I told them, well, and I didn't even tell them right away. I waited to see if I could even make it
Mm-hmm.
as long as I was trying to go for. And then once I started telling people like, I've been sober, like this is what I've been doing, like it's crazy how many people like the relief that I saw, like my family. Dude, like I think my dad and my mom,
Yep.
I think were the biggest ones. My dad the biggest because he was just like he used to tell me all the time. He's like, dude, I worry about you. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're fine. I'm fine. He's like, no, man, like I don't think you are. I was like, you don't know. You don't know. I'm fine. And I
Yeah.
wasn't. He
Yeah.
knew. And, you know, when I hit that 1 year marker, you know, for this last 11 months, or almost 11 months. So this month on the 17th will be a year and 11 months sober. Um,
Congratulations.
I have noticed the difference in how like my family talks to me and deals with me. Well, not even deal with me. I shouldn't say deal with me.
Yeah.
Um, that was the drunk me that they had to deal with. No, just how they like communicate and work with me is so much different, you know?
Yep.
Like before, like family functions and stuff like that, I think they like worried about me being too fucking drunk. And they had every right to be because, you know, I might be sipping on a beer, but every 5 or 10 minutes I might be going to the bathroom because I have a pocket full of shooters that I'm taking in the bathroom while I'm peeing. Like, just like the extent that I was like just trying to fucking hide my drinking, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to have little shooters hidden everywhere around the house and, you know, just in my car, you
Like,
know, just like
wow.
stupid shit. Yeah, I have a lot of shame still
Oh,
attached to some of those things I've done in my life, and I'm working through it. You know, it's just like you look back and I'm like, fuck, that is not the person I have ever wanted to be. It's not a person, you know, and I found the more I fought to control things so that I wasn't going to be a certain way, I ended up being that certain way anyways because the alcohol just didn't help. I
yeah.
had zero control over myself at that point. The alcohol had control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
But
You know, they say like I say that all the time. Why are you guys so worried about it? It's my life. Like, no, like our
well,
actions affect other people, man, whether we like it or not. And me trying to control my life made a lot of people happy, and it was pretty crazy on how much I affected other people. But man,
yeah,
that's life. Like whether we like it or not, our actions affect others. So, but hey, man, I had a good time with you. This was a good conversation. It's
yeah,
one
I know
of
that.
many.
I was gonna say, yeah. Next time we can definitely have like more of a. If we don't have someone that wants to come on and talk, we can have more of like a very narrow subject to stay on task because I can veer left and right all day long because of my brain and how it works sometimes.
Yeah.
I could start in left field, but somehow I'm over in right field playing with the dandelion. I don't know. Like,
Hey, that's me too. But this is what this episode was about: to get to know you, where you came from, what you've been through, and how you got there. So, it's
yeah.
all good, man. But yeah, so thank you for watching, and please subscribe, leave some comments, and let us know if you want to be on. We're looking for some people just to talk. And you don't have to be an addict, you don't have to have an alcohol problem. You could have seen it happen. You could have a whole different problem. You could even be thinking about quitting. Um, and we would love to
Send
have you
us
on.
some, yeah, send us some questions too if you don't want to get on about certain topics that maybe you would like to listen in on our own perspective and experience, if we have any. I can't guarantee it because, you know, you never know.
Yeah.
But,
You might not have
you
been
know,
there.
so, you know, I might have been there. I don't know. Um,
uh,
but yeah, you know, like if there's certain things that you just like question, because I know a lot of people when they're getting sober, like people are like, you know, what'd you do that worked for you? And it's like, well, what works for me isn't gonna work for everybody.
yep.
I read books and I self-reflect, and there's a lot of people out there that can read books, but they can't self-reflect, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was one of those people that couldn't self-reflect, and you know, I also go to therapy too, you know, twice a month, and this guy helps me work through some really hard things that have come up from my past that, you know, I never really thought really affected me until one day I was in his office fucking crying. I was like, I don't know why. Why? Like, this is how I feel. And, you know, like, after an entire year of talking to him, he's like, has his little knee slapper, and he's like, this all fucking makes sense now, Curran. Like, all you had to do was share this one small piece of your life with me. And all we have to do is break this down. And, like, from here on forward, like, things are going to be so much better.
Yeah.
And they have been for me.
Good.
I know that some people around me, I don't know, I can see the difference. And I hope that other people can too. And if you can't, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that self-love. Like, I know where I'm at. You need to know where you are at, and like not let people's judgments, because I still feel like a piece of shit sometimes when I think about alcohol. I'm like, God. But I have to remember, like, I'm not that person anymore. Like, that's old me. I'm grown from that person, and like, Dane, you've done it. I know a ton of other people in my life who have done it. Um, but one thing to know is like getting sober is not easy. It's not just
Oh, nope.
stop drinking. It's all the emotions and everything else that alcohol suppressed all comes up. And let me tell you, when I told you I lost 70 pounds because I was stressed out about life and all the dumb shit I did, I was fucking stressed, man.
Yeah, just
It
because you get
never ends
sober, things don't
fast.
get better right away. You know what I mean? It's like it takes time.
Well,
So,
sometimes it gets worse. Sometimes it
yeah,
does. It actually gets worse
yep,
when you get sober. And you have to realize, and that's another thing, is people are like, oh, I'm just waiting to hit rock bottom. A lot of people don't realize that rock bottom could be your grave.
yeah,
And that's the direction I was heading, dude. Like,
mm-hmm,
I was like, oh, I haven't hit rock bottom. I still have my house. I still have my job. Like, I'm still a decent dad, but
mm,
all it takes is getting drunk one time and all that shit's fucking gone,
poof. Mm,
right? You'll be lucky if you get to say goodbye.
yeah, oh, yeah, that's no joke, dude. Jeez. But, all right, man. Well, you enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday.
You
Eat,
too?
eat
I
a
would say go
go
Eagles.
Eagles, yeah. Go
Nora's
Eagles.
Nora's like Taylor Swift. I was like, ah.
No.
I was like, dude, your boyfriend's on TV. Dad, he's not my boyfriend. That's Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
She's so
Does Taylor
smart.
Swift know that you have a thing for Travis Kelce? Dad,
Oh,
stop it.
the Swifties are real, man. Uh,
Hey, she watches football with me and she's excited about it. So, I mean, if
yep.
Taylor Swift brought that, thank you, Taylor Swift. But also, like,
Kind of stay out of
just
the
like,
way.
call it.
All right, man. Well, it's good to talk to you. I will holler at you later. We'll talk about the Super Bowl. I'll text you or something. And thanks for watching again, guys. And I hope you tune
Yes,
in
thank you.
for our next episode. And we'll talk at you later.